Thursday afternoon chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the children listening, please put your little paws together unless you're driving. Although if you're a child, you shouldn't be driving anyway. So, for our guests here today, Natalie Grant, how are we?
Woohoo, I'm good.
How's my fellow Seahawk fan?
Come on, go Hawks.
I don't watch as much as I used to. They're my team, but I am...
Don't say that out loud. That's bad mojo.
I am soccer. I'm one of those nerds.
What happened?
Have
you always been? Is it your son?
Living in the UK and Ireland started it.
Yes.
And then the internet came, so I could actually follow a team from the UK. And then I could be in their fan club.
Coming in, like Nashville has a team where I live, has a soccer team, and people are going to the games.
Well, my boy and I picked Inter Miami because we're Beckham fans.
Yes.
And so we went to the match this year. We were the only people that did not speak Spanish in the whole stadium, which was great. I loved it because they were using a lot of words. I know what they mean, and he didn't. So as they're singing their songs, I'm like, oh, thank goodness, this isn't Spanish. And then we scored. And we were in the supporter section. Yes. We scored, and then my son, who's like 11, 12, he's like, Dad, I just got beer spilled all over me. And I was like, yeah, you're just getting the full...
you're getting the full experience. The full experience.
Go Inter.
I've never been to a soccer match.
Don't play around with baby stuff. If you're going to... First time, you're going to want to do something special. So if you are on vacation or tour, when you go to the UK... either the UK or Madrid or something like that. That's the real stuff. Because
it's serious over there.
Nashville will be okay for you, but you need to know its entry level. Not just because of Nashville.
I know. Is it going to be like so? My husband Bernie, because he's Canadian, he's a Mondo hockey fan.
Met him downstairs. We're going to talk about him. Go on.
He's the best. He's a serious hockey fan, and that's like when hockey came to Nashville. Like they had to put the definition. So he went to his first Nashville Predators game, and being a Canadian and growing up on hockey, and he's like, I'm sitting in the South watching hockey, and people like came in their business suits, and they're like icing, and then all of a sudden a definition would come up on the board and be like icing is when, and had all the definitions. Yes, so I wonder if that's what they're doing with soccer, so that people can understand it. Yeah, because I don't know the rules. I just know they run a lot.
Don't touch it with your hand.
I just know they run and they use their head to bop the ball.
They all have six packs because it's nonstop running for 90 minutes.
Like they must be in serious shape.
They don't score a lot, but they run.
I know. I get tired whenever I've watched it. I'm like, I can't. It's too much for me.
That's how I'm going to get rid of my COVID-20. Is I'm going to join a soccer team.
19. I feel better about saying 19 than 20, although I'm sure it's like 28. But
we have a new thing with these interviews where I want to give you, obviously on the radio, you're just hearing words.
Yep.
But for those that watch some of these clips online and on socials, we want to give Natalie a chance to pick where we do this interview today. So I've given you a list. We've got Paris, the Great Wall, or a jungle setting. What would you like to go with?
Well, it's a hard choice because I've always wanted to go to the Great Wall of China, but I was supposed to go to Europe in 2020, and it got shut down. And so I feel like I got robbed of that experience. So I choose Paris.
Off we go. There we go. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Je m'appelle Natalie.
Je m'appelle Jayar.
That's all I got.
Went to Spanish real quick.
Comment allez-vous? Je ne sais pas français. Je ne sais pas français, which I think means I only speak a little French, which that's all. You just heard all the words I know.
Un petit.
Yeah.
Je parle un petit.
Oh. Yeah. Is that little? A little bit?
I speak a little. Yeah.
Merci. I don't know. Merci beaucoup.
Everybody watching this online is like, you're in Paris. You guys might want to quiet down. I heard they're not the friendliest
they don't like Americans as it is.
Especially when you're mocking the few phrases, Is it petite? I don't know. Something.
What is that? Merci beaucoup.
Hey, Jim Appel. We're still getting kicked out of this cafe behind us right now.
For sure. Yep.
Let's go into, I ran into your husband. Yes, I know you guys are in town.
Yep.
And I ran into your husband at a kind of grab food and go kind of place. Yes. And he was doing that class. Oh, no. I went up and said, what's up, Bernie? I said, I work with Carmen, Joy Femme, blah, blah. He said, yeah, bro, what's up, man? Good to see you. He doesn't know me from Adam.
But he's so friendly.
But he was doing a great job. Like, he almost convinced me. I'm like, have we met?
Do we know each other?
He convinced me we have met, and he was the one lying.
Okay, this is my favorite. It's because I've gotten on Bernie after 21 years of marriage. He will oftentimes say, "So nice to meet you," and then we'll leave, and I'll go, "You have met that person like 7 times."
I knew it.
So
he
now,
was doing it to me.
So now I just be like, "Hey man, so good to see you."
You taught him well.
He did it. He actually listened. I'm so proud. Actually,
I was crying on my way out of there, but. That's great.
He's a good guy. There's nobody more friendly than Bernie.
This is what I said to him, though. I said, good to see you, man, the most talented person in your house.
Oh, actually, I agree.
And I said, don't tell Natalie that, please. And then I walked out and said, I feel bad for being dishonest to him. But he was doing it to me.
No, but like I did it. And I don't, it's so funny because right through the COVID quarantine or whatever.
What's COVID?
I know. What's that thing?
Oh.
What is that thing you speak of? That C word? I don't understand that. But through quarantine, we started doing those song-a-days, right? And I loved it because everyone got a chance to actually see how truly talented Bernie, like he's like next level. Like he's actually not, it's not normal in any way.
Yeah.
But what happens now is really, I'm just not enough for anybody. And when they see me, all they care about is Bernie. They're like, hey, where's Bernie?
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, I know you like him better. It's okay. I've come to terms with it.
Those things were great because you looked like you just love music. You're just sitting there. He looked like one of those crazy artists that's so talented. It's weird they can even open doors. Like one of those
Idiot
guys.
savant is what I think we actually call that. Is that a politically correct word? I don't know, but it's like where they're
I don't know about in Paris, but
like where they're so brilliant that they're like where he rocks back and forth and he would like throw his eyes would always be closed and his mouth open where it's like But no, guys, we did 70 songs.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other story because when we first started, I accidentally hashtagged it a song a day keeps the crazies away because I thought it sounded cute.
Yeah.
I didn't actually think of the implication of that. And then people caught it and they were like, wait, are you going to do this every day? And I was like, well, how long can this thing last? Like 14, 15 days, 70 days in, I was like, I'm out. I don't know any more songs. But he never used a piece of music. Like he played those songs, all 70, without a single piece of music, which is pretty. And most songs he never didn't know, had never played before.
Crazy.
And like 5 minutes before we would do it, I'd be like, hey, I'm feeling like doing this Whitney song or whatever today. And be like, I don't know that. I'd be like, oh, it's easy.
Right.
Just follow along. You're going to be fine. He's always like, huh? That's probably why he looked like that.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a lot up in there.
There's
a lot in his head that keeps that train rolling.
He's a real smart dude.
Yeah.
I feel like 20 years of marriage, I've had to carry a pocket dictionary basically our entire marriage because he uses big words.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You guys look so cute in those videos though, because you were just like mom that's quarantined
in pajamas,
in a pajamas and a Seahawk beanie, and he's just over there rocking back and forth, like
drooling.
Yeah,
just kidding.
drooling, speaking to Mozart himself. And you're just over there.
Yeah,
hey kids, go to bed.
Okay, exactly. Go to bed. Okay. Sorry, don't talk because we're doing our song now. Everyone would comment like, "Your kids must just love being in that house with all that music. That just must be such a gift." And I'm like, "No." They were like, "Are you seriously doing that song again?
Right.
You're interrupting our movie."
Yeah. Hey.
They were a little annoyed.
To the Cody Carnes and Carrie Joe boys. Isn't it great to have the greatest worship in the world? It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
Awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah. I want to go into your latest. I got lots of songs, but the latest, I think. What would you like to walk us up right here?
Well, so the song is called "Who Else," and it's really funny when I think about the music. I mean, first of all, I put out a record in 2020. Not really sure why that was a good idea, but I was like, we couldn't tour it, couldn't go out, but we recorded it in 2019. And isn't it funny how you think you're writing songs for a moment in your own life? Like Who Else for me was coming out of my journey with cancer and kind of not knowing how that was going to turn out. And then the lyric is, who else can take a tragedy and turn it into victory? Who else who is like our God? And I think it's meant for that moment. And then all of a sudden you fast forward to 2020 when the song actually comes out. And then 2021, you're putting it out and you're like, wait a second. this was always meant for this season. And I feel like God always knows what we don't know and can't see coming. And a lot of the songs from this project, I feel like, were songs for this season. I just didn't know it yet. And I just love this song because it says, who is like our God? And even when you look at just all of the religions of the world, there's just all the other gods, little g, they just, nothing compares to our God that takes tragedy every time, makes victory, even when we don't see it. But Romans 8:28 says he works all things together for our good. It's really hard to believe that sometimes when you're in the middle of it. And I feel like a lot of people felt that in the middle of 2020. Like, how could there possibly be good that comes from this? But I feel like we're already seeing that turnaround. I feel like I'm more committed to the message of the gospel. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, where it's kind of like I felt I had gotten to a stage in my life where I was so happy in my bubble of Christianity. I'd kind of actually forgotten that there was a world that needed the hope of Jesus Christ. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, you see it now more than ever. People need Jesus. Like, our neighbors actually need Jesus. The people we interact with at the grocery store need Jesus. And I feel like a little bit more alive to that reality than I ever have been before.
Think about a radio show, though, because you knew me back when I was in Nashville. We're doing that. It's like every day you're doing a show, mostly to Christians.
Yes.
And you get so used to that. And then all of a sudden over the past, I know the world's always been dark, but the past few years is like, it's a desperate dark. Yeah. And I now come to work with more purpose to do a show than I ever have in my life.
See?
Yeah, there's still fun and shenanigans on the show, but like when I speak,
purpose to it.
And then you think, you picked me to do this?
Like, Lord.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is that he's actually picked all of us. Yeah. And I think that for me was, it's not just for you who has a radio show, not just for me who holds a microphone on a platform, but that reminder also that if the only time we're actually talking about Jesus is when we're on a microphone, then we're failing as believers. And that was for me, I think, something I really woke up to. Like, I can get on a mic and talk about Jesus all day long, but if I'm not actually telling my neighbor about Jesus, then I'm still failing at the Great Commission. Yeah. And especially this time that we've come through, like, I mean, we could spend an entire show on the negative aspect of, like, oh gosh, there was so much fighting and so much division and so much all of this. Yeah. But I think the beauty that I'm seeing come out of it now is the church is waking up to, wait a second, we've taken a bit of a hit, like how the world even views the church. And we've got work to do.
But playtime and coasting are over as the church. Now it's like, anybody on the outside, you may as well go find something else.
Yeah, no more singing to the choir, guys. Yeah. This isn't like let's just all be a part of a happy club and entertain one another.
Yeah, get back to gossiping about each other. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Edit that out. That was a joke. But I feel it's like it's go time now for true believers. That doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. It means you are crazy. It
actually means you know that you're not. Yeah. And that you have this hope that when you come through a season where it felt actually literally hopeless. Yeah. Like, you were seeing the news, you were listening, you were scared, you were full of fear, and you're like, wait a second, we're the people of God. Yeah. And the church sounded like they were more afraid than everybody else. Yeah. You're like, we're the ones that we're supposed to have a sound mind. We're the ones. Wake-up call. Yes.
Oh, wait, weren't we playing your new song? We were playing your song right here. I forgot what we were talking about.
I know.
What question did I ask her? Yes, we're introing who else?
Who else is like our God?
Full circle. That's great. For years, Natalie, I've called you to your face the greatest female vocalist in faith music history. I bring this up because you brought up to me that CeCe Winans, and we've just recently been blessed to get this year, getting that song "Believe for It" is one of the greatest songs of the year.
Believe for it. Come on, CeCe.
So in my world, my industry, she's back. The CeCe from my childhood when I didn't like listening to faith music.
Wanted to be.
Yeah.
That CeCe.
So the question would be, even Whitney Houston, so you and Whitney would call CeCe the greatest female vocalist. Yes. It's too easy for me to stay on that train. Let's go with who is the greatest male vocalist you have ever heard in your life.
Oh,
going back
goodness.
to Sinatra, to Goki, to I use Goki because I know you're very
Very close, but
Yeah.
wow, that's what a huge compliment to him. I love you, Danny. I actually think Danny's an unbelievable singer and one of the greats in our industry.
Yeah.
I really think he's one of the great voices because he's consistently good.
Yeah. Let's go old. Let's go from Bublé
Okay,
to
so what in his prime? Because if he's listening, I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but you're not quite the same as you used to be. But in his prime, when I grew up loving Christian music, Michael English could sing his tail off. So he was one of my favorite voices of all time. Back when I was a teenager, that was like one of my favorite voices of all time.
Made Christ Alone famous. That's still being redone.
Yes. So that one of the great voices. Bublé for me is one of the greats, but that's because he's probably. So Frank Sinatra. I get that this might be saying like he wasn't my favorite voice, but from that era, I loved Andy Williams.
Yeah.
I love his voice. His Christmas music is still my favorite. Perry Como.
You listen to some of those guys like Perry Como and who's the other one? Like the Dean Martin era. That Bing Crosby.
Oh, Bing
So
Crosby.
you listen to that voice from 70 years ago, and it sounds so effortless when he's just that tone. Him and Sinatra, what are they called? Crooners?
Crooners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about music, but you just listen to that going,
Those are some
that's
of the
not
great.
normal.
They don't make that anymore either,
Yeah.
and that's why I think Bublé was such a huge thing because he actually sounded like he was from another time.
Yeah.
And one of the great records ever is that Ella Fitzgerald and Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole is another one that just had that voice that you know it when you hear it. You can't mistake it.
Yeah.
It's like unmistakable. And Ella Fitzgerald and Nat King Cole did a record together, and it's unbelievable.
I want to play some Christmas tunes right now. Natalie, what is the part of driving that you are horrible at? That you're like, that is my weak spot and has been.
Going the speed limit.
Oh.
I drive very, very fast, and here is a fact that really annoys my husband. I have never gotten a speeding ticket.
Oh, wow.
Never. And I, don't judge me, but I drive fast, fast. Like I'll look down and be like, oh my gosh, that says 102. What am I doing? I've never gotten a speeding ticket, not one time. My husband goes 5 miles an hour over, and he probably got 5 speeding tickets last year.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Literally.
Murphy's Law.
He couldn't go to school. Like in our state, you can go to traffic school to get it off of your record.
Yeah.
You can only do that so many times, and you can't do it anymore. He can't do it anymore. That's how many times. And he doesn't speed, and yet I do. And I don't know.
That's horrible.
It's the favor of the Lord, I like to say.
Sorry, Bernie.
Sorry, Bernie.
Favor doesn't apply for Canadians.
Fair.
Can I say that? I just said favor doesn't apply to Canadians.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you can.
Yes.
I support that statement. Sorry, just kidding.
What were the perks of your parents' job growing up? My dad worked at a grocery store changing the price tags of everything. It's very just fun job. Okay. But I got to run around the grocery store after closing time as a little boy just with nobody in it.
Yes. So perks. My mom, the first perk was that she didn't work outside the home. And that was a perk for me because she was always home when I came home from school. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. And in my senior year of high school, she decided to get a job because she was like, okay, my kids are raised, basically. Yeah. And she got a job at Nordstrom.
Oh,
and
that's
she
where
got
I met my wife.
What?
Yeah,
For
we
real?
were both valets.
Come on,
in
what?
Seattle.
Oh my god.
At 7th and Pike.
My brother used to play the piano at 7th and Pike.
Oh,
Remember when Nordstrom had the piano?
First floor. Yeah.
And my mom worked at corporate, but she got, which was right next to that store.
Well, it's now upstairs.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But she got a discount.
Oh yeah.
And so that was the greatest perk is I got my 30. And then she got like the employee of the year, and they get 33% off, and that was a huge deal. So I was like, I got the 33% off discount. My dad was in sales, and he traveled, and he would take us with him. So when I got out of school in the summer, we would go the day after school got out, and we would be gone. So I had seen 45 states by the time I graduated from high school. And I think that's actually why I'm doing what I do is because he put that bug in me of traveling and living out of a suitcase. So that was the perk of his job is traveling as a family.
That's great. That's a small world. That piano, you said who played at that piano?
My brother.
Your brother played at that piano. And a few years later, my future wife was tackling people that were stealing.
No.
That she was in loss prevention.
What?
So when they would steal something, you have to see them do
Yes.
it. So they would have multiple people with earpieces. So my wife and some big dudes, you can't just have all big dudes walking around or they'll know.
No, exactly.
So my wife had this
I said
earpiece.
also the earpiece, but she also even act like they're shopping and
Yes,
stuff. Totally.
they have to shop, and once you see it on the camera, then you can go in. So picture that piano your brother was playing at. My wife has tackled people right by that piano. 120-pound.
My brother's on the keys. His nice little safe
and he
job.
didn't even
Your
break
little tiny
stride.
wife. No, exactly. And she's tackling people. It's awesome.
That's when I knew I was gonna
Love
marry
you're
her.
like, I love her. I love her.
All right, that's gonna wrap it up. How just your experience here in Paris, I hope, was wonderful.
The conversation was great. Love the espresso. Need to go shopping now.
You said you've not been, right? You were supposed to.
No, I've been to Paris, but we were supposed to go, and we were taking our kids to Paris.
Okay.
In 2020, and we didn't get to. So
how realistic? I've only been through Calais and the northern part of France en route to somewhere else.
Yes.
Which is sad to not have dropped down. But I did the same thing with the Czech Republic. People say Prague is the most beautiful city.
It is.
I went to Czech, stayed there for a week, didn't drop into Prague. So
Come on.
got this habit of
Learn from that now. The next time you go back, learn from that.
So
drop down.
So just real quick to anybody that's booking flights as pandemics go away.
Yes.
Is the stereotype? Have you experienced the stereotype of the?
Yes.
Yes. Is it as
in
bad?
France, and they don't actually care that you think they're rude. They don't care.
Yeah.
But there's something about that I kind of appreciate, because what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what's coming, you know to expect it. And I mean, I love Paris, but if you're thinking about going on a trip, the greatest country for me that I've ever been to in the world is Italy. That's worth it. Go, and they're kind, and the food and all of it. It's fantastic.
Wonderful. Always great to see you.
You too.
Natalie.
Go Hawks.
Yes. Seahawks.
The Thursday Afternoon Chat. Your favorite artists with Jayar.